Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting rabbits.
Alrighty. Welcome back to the channel. This morning, I'm going to be Elmer Fudd. Be very, very quiet. Because I'm going to be going down a few rabbit holes, chasing some wascoey rabbits. But we're not going to chase them. I think by the time we get done, we're going to find the rabbit we're chasing, and we're going to make some rabbit stew.
One rabbit stew coming right up.
I've been somewhat binge watching a lot of videos, and it's been interesting to me how the further we get into this, to me anyway, it seems more and more like this whole Kiely Rodni case is just one big cover-up. That's just my view of it. Now look, you don't have to agree with me on the things I'm going to be saying, and that's fine. You know, we all have our own theories, and a lot of people on YouTube have looked at aspects of this case that I haven't even bothered to pursue. There's a lot of you who know a lot more about this than I do. I'm just concentrating on what piques my interest. Now, keep in mind, my view is from the perspective of an ex-cop. And I'm looking at this as if I were an outside agency investigating all the players involved. The supposed friends, the community, the family, and law enforcement. And I have to be honest and say, when putting everything together, I think it's somewhat alarming. At least it's alarming to me. And from the comments that I've gotten on my videos, it's no different for a lot of you out there too. A lot of you view this the same way that I do. Now, this next statement, a lot of you are not going to agree with, and that's fine. We don't have to agree. You know, we got to look at the big picture. The important thing is that we're all on the same team, and all we want to do is find the truth of what happened. So I'm simply wanting to share my own opinion, and keep in mind, the things that I'm going to share are my opinions of what I believe is true. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm not saying anyone is guilty. I'm simply sharing my opinion based on what I've seen, the evidence that's arisen, and the vibe that I get from the community and the people involved and the way this case has been handled by law enforcement. It's kind of it's a mixture of everything together is what I'm basing my opinion on. Not just one, minor detail here and there, but the whole picture. So I want to begin by having us look at what I think are some major red flags in this case. All right, red flag number 1. Not long after Kiely went missing, the police came out with this photo saying it was taken at a local convenience store at 6:08 p.m. the night of the party. Now, as I stated in another video, I looked at every store within a 10-mile radius in every direction from Truckee and also from where Kiely lived, which really wasn't that far. It's south of Truckee ways. Now, the interior shown in this photo does not match any store in that area, at least that I have found. Also, it says a timestamp of 6:08 p.m. Now, according to the local newspaper, Sammy stated that Kiely and Mags arrived at the party around 9:45 p.m. So, from 6:08 p.m. to 9:45 p.m., we have almost a 4-hour time gap between when Kiely was supposedly seen at the store and when she arrived at the party. Now, sorry, but it does not take 4 hours to drive from Truckee to the party site. So what were they doing for almost 4 hours? Now, I haven't seen any statement from Mags accounting for that time. Now, maybe you have. Maybe there is something out there and I just haven't seen it. I haven't seen it. But this time gap, almost a 4-hour time gap for about a 20-minute drive or 30 minutes at the most, you've got a 4-hour time gap. This time gap makes absolutely no sense. Secondly, there have been a lot of creators on here go over this picture in a lot of detail. I mean, very minute detail, and picked it apart. And from what I've seen, and I think they've proven this, that it's obviously been photoshopped. For one thing, the hair doesn't even come close to matching Kiely, the hair color. You know, her color doesn't match, the length doesn't match, it's too short. She had really skinny legs, and the legs in this picture are much thicker than her legs. And you look at all the other pictures of her, and she's got skinny legs. And the legs in this picture are not, I mean, they're not huge, they're not thunder thighs or anything, but they're they're not skinny like hers. There also appears to be a segment of peeking out, a segment of a tattoo on her chest, which she doesn't have. So the whole thing seems to be a total fake. So, if that's the case, and it was law enforcement who came out with this photo, why are the cops putting out a fake photo? Why are the cops putting out a Photoshop photo? And so if the photo's a fake, that means we also have to question the timestamp and the statement that she was seen at the store at 6:08 p.m. So we're forced to ask, why did the cops propagate an outright lie? Why do this? There's no logical reason to put this out. So we have to question whether Kiely was at this store at 6:08 p.m. We also have to ask, what is the reason the cops are trying to make us believe she was there at that particular time? At this point, we have to ask, can we trust anyone? Can we trust any statements from anyone involved in this case? That includes friends, that includes the cops, and even the family. There has to be a reason they said she was at this store when it's obvious she was not. Okay. Red flag number 2. The two narratives that have been pushed by the family. Now, when Kiely first came up missing, they said that they had searched the roads in the area looking for her car, or said they did anyway. I'm not so sure that's true. When they could not find her car, they went straight to the theory that she'd been abducted. And I could be wrong on this. There could be some stuff out there that I haven't seen, but I'm just going by what I have seen, okay? So keep that in mind. But as far as I have seen, they never even considered any other theory. Like I say, I may be wrong, but this is the only thing that I saw or heard. Even Sammy, in her interview, was saying that Kiely might have been abducted, went so far as to say, I know there has to be someone else involved in this. It's quite the statement. Really pushing that narrative. Not one time do I remember anyone saying she might have driven drunk and run off the road somewhere. Now, maybe they did state it. I just haven't seen any place where they did say it at that time period. But even if they did, they were still really pushing the abduction scenario really, really hard. Now, be honest, it wouldn't be all that unusual to come up with that theory. That's obviously going to be one of the theories that they're going to consider. But when we take everything together and look at it, it's strange how before Kiely was found, that was a scenario everyone was pushing. She's been abducted. And then, after Kiely was found, the second scenario they began pushing was this was an accident. And Lindsay really began pushing that hard, as well as other people, including law enforcement. Now, while it would be normal to have an accident as one of the scenarios, that's not unusual. That's going to be normal when you're looking at all the possibilities. But it's rather telling to me how the family never even contemplated this being anything but an accident, at least publicly. I've never seen the family say anything about this being some type of foul play. The fact that they're pushing the accident scenario is really suspicious to me. Why is that the only scenario that they're pushing, and pushing it hard? Now, here's the thing that really makes this stand out for me. Lindsay went on and on. This is before Kiely was found. Lindsay went on and on about how responsible Kiely was, how she would never drink and drive. You know, back when they were first discussing that she might have run off the road. Oh, no. She would not do that. She swore up and down how she knew better and would never drive drunk. Then look at the 180 she does. Ever since Kiely was found in the lake, Lindsay's been saying it's just an accident and pushing that narrative. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't you just get through saying that Kiely would never drive drunk? She's smarter than that. She knows better than that. She'd never do that. She would never drive drunk. Now, to me, this isn't normal behavior. Now, I know if it was found in the lake, in the cargo area of I lost my train of thought here. Let me just say this. Now, if it was me that was found in the lake, in the cargo area of a Honda CRV that has such a small space back there, almost impossible to get back to, my mom would be tearing the town apart. In fact, not only the town, but the county, the state, and maybe even the neighboring states, trying to get answers as to what happened. In fact, instead of hugging friends that abandoned me, she'd be taking them out behind the woodshed and scaring the bejesus out of them, or making them talk. Now, granted, my mom was the head of magistrate court in our county, was used to dealing with turd heads. But it was like that old movie. I don't know, some of you older folk like me remember that old movie where the guy goes, "We have ways of making you talk." I'm sorry, but to just call this an accident and stick your head in the sand when there's nothing that says this is an accident is just very strange and suspicious. It really makes me wonder if even the family was in on this. Now, some people may think that's far-fetched, but it wouldn't be the first time a parent got rid of a kid for one reason or another. I just want to look at a few cases just to get you familiar with it, and some of you probably were familiar with a couple of these. This first one says, mother slays 7 children, but first she did away with the family duck. I guess that's where they come up with the term dead duck. Bad joke, I know. Okay, Raina Mersane Ina Taide, in December 2014, stabbed to death 7 of her 8 children and her niece before stabbing herself 35 times. Taide, then 40, first killed the family's pet duck, then said a dove's call was a sign from God that she must kill her children in order to save them. The victims included 4 girls and 4 boys ranging in age from 2 to 14. Taide survived, and an Australian judge exempted her from trial and committed her to a mental health facility. All right, second one. Matthew Coleman charged with killing 2 tots to save the world. Matthew Taylor Coleman, 40, faces 2 counts. They said county, but I think they mean counts. First-degree foreign murder in the August deaths of his 2-year-old son and 10-month-old daughter with a spear fishing gun. Holy crap. He told authorities the children were possessed with serpent DNA and were going to grow into monsters. Coleman had driven the children from Santa Barbara, California to Mexico, where he is accused of killing them in Rosarita Beach and then dumping their bodies. Which, if you know where Rosarita Beach is, it's down on Baja California Sur, down there. The kind of close to Ensenada, that area. Coleman, a former a follower of QAnon conspiracy theories, told authorities that he knew it was wrong, but it was the only course of action that would save the world. Coleman pleaded not guilty. All right, next one. Isabel Martinez fatally stabs her entire family except for one survivor. Isabel Martinez in July 2017 stabbed to death her husband, 33, and 4 of her children, ages 2, 4, 7, and 10, before cutting herself. The 35-year-old Georgia woman also stabbed her other child, a 9-year-old, who survived the stabbing. Martinez also survived and pleaded guilty to the murders, saying she believed a devil-like spirit was trying to take her children. Almost sounds like maybe these people were involved with cults or something. It's just a thought. This one was, I'm sure you remember this one. This one was nationwide news. Susan Smith drowns 2 young sons, claims carjacker took them. Susan Smith in October 1994 drowned her 3-year-old and 14-month-old sons near the family's South Carolina home. Smith was reportedly dating a man who did not want children, and to get rid of her own. And to get rid of her own, drove her car into a lake with the children strapped inside. Got a lake involved. She initially blamed a made-up kidnapper, but then admitted her crimes. Smith was sentenced to life in prison and is eligible for parole in 2024. Huh? You gotta be kidding me. Yeesh. Next one. This is the last one we'll look at. Andrea Yates drowned her 5 children one by one in bathtub. Texas-born Andrea Yates in June 2001 drowned her 5 young children one by one in a bathtub while her husband was at work. Can you imagine getting home from work and finding all 5 of your kids dead? Ugh. Yates, then 37, was convicted on 2 counts of murder and sentenced to life in prison. The verdict was reversed on appeal, and Yates in 2006 was released on bond. I swear our legal system, man, I tell you. The following day, she was admitted to a psychiatric facility where she remains to this day. You think? Holy moly. All right, now look. I'm not saying that Kiely's family was in on this. I'm just saying that this kind of thing happens more often than we might think. And considering her narrative of pushing this as being an accident to me, considering everything else you looked at in my previous videos and how people cover for other people, to me there has to be a reason she's pushing the accident scenario so hard and not even considering there might be foul play. That's just weird. By the way, don't you think it's a little strange how there's so many of us on YouTube who absolutely do not believe this was an accident and absolutely believe this was foul play, yet she won't even consider it? She just wants to say it's an accident and move on. Seriously? You don't care about getting justice for your daughter? That's just totally beyond me. How could you be like that? It just seems that law enforcement, the family, and everyone else involved want this just swept under the carpet like they've done with so many other cases in that region. So many other cases. All right, red flag number 3 is the attitudes toward adventures with purpose. Going to look at the attitudes one by one here. First of all, Lindsay. She was upset when she heard AWP was coming to search for Kiely. What's the first thing she did? First thing she did was pull the reward money so she wouldn't have to give it to AWP. Now here's the deal. She pulled it as soon as she heard they were coming. Why did she do that? Did she do that because she already knew that Kiely was in Prosser Reservoir and that AWP would most likely find her? Now keep in mind, she had been pushing and pushing and pushing this abduction scenario. Even going on TV and pleading for whoever had her to return her. Pleading for Kiely to come back home. Okay, so if she really believed the scenario she was pushing so hard, this abduction scenario, and making everyone else believe, why was she so upset that AWP was coming? Oh, if Kiely had been abducted, AWP coming was of no consequence. You know, since Lindsay had made no mention of Kiely possibly being in one of the lakes and believed that Kiely had been abducted, why was she so upset that AWP was coming? Why did she continue to get even more upset as AWP's search went along, and even after they found Kiely, she was upset? Now, to be fair, I can understand her being upset with this being made public and all over YouTube. Okay, I can somewhat sympathize with that. I don't have any problem with that. I can see where, she might be, not want this all to be a public thing. But to me, this is not being able to see the forest for the trees. This is not being able to see the bigger picture. I mean, hey, come on. You are getting answers as to the disappearance of your daughter. Didn't that mean anything to her? Wasn't that important to her? Didn't she even care a little bit that her daughter was being found and they now know she's no longer missing? Even if she's found dead, at least there's an answer. It seems this whole time, everything she has said and done screams, it's all about me and nothing about Kiely. I don't for the life of me see how a person can make this all about them and seem angry that some people cared enough to help them free of charge and do what nobody else in the 2 counties involved were able to do. I'm sorry. I just don't get it. All right. Second person, Jagger. Jagger started making posts calling AWP clout chasers, a bunch of effing liars. What? Wait, Jagger. You kept going on and on how you loved Kiely, blah, 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 and miss her forever, and you don't even care if she's found or not? This girl who you claim to love more than life itself has finally been found, and all you can do is disparage and badmouth the people who were kind enough to travel from Oregon to California because other people cared. And the majority of those other people who cared being us on social media. And by the way, it wasn't the people involved in this who were crying for help. It was us, the social media monster, who sent thousands of requests to AWP begging them to come find her. I mean, it's beyond me how it appears nobody in that area wanted to see her found. Next person, Steve, or SF Investigates. The supposed PI went on somewhat of a rampage, said all kinds of derogatory things about AWP, even going so far as to flat out call them liars when they talked about the meeting with Nick, the service driver. Now, what's interesting, the things that Steve said, SF said, Kate said the same things when she was told about Nick meeting the 2 people at the car. She said, oh, it's all lies, total BS. Blah, 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 until she was told that it was all captured on video. And then, crickets. So we have to ask, why would she be upset about it? Why would she react so strongly and say it was all BS? Why would SF go out of his way to try to discredit AWP and say they were lying? What would be the point? What would be the purpose? In my opinion, there is no purpose other than the whole group is trying to cover something up. And they do not like the fact that AWP came in and blew up the whole thing. Anyway, I'm going to end the video at this point. We have a lot more to cover, and I don't want this to be a feature-length movie. But in the next video, we're going to get into the next group of people in flag number 4. The red flag, or actually plethora of, of red flags that we've seen with law enforcement. So be sure and tune in for that one. I'm going to try to have that out tomorrow. Catch ya. Take care, all.